So Ludwig decided to show us how much money he's making off of YouTube and Twitch the last few years. And because of my job, I just couldn't help but to take a deep dive on the data. So I went in and recreated a table he showed us so I could play around with it. And I was shocked that he made such a definitive decision halfway through January to stick with multi-streaming, right? He didn't give it a month. He didn't give it a year, a business quarter. He said, yeah, guys, honestly, it's so clear that this is the way to go. Because when you look at the money, where you see collectively he made $60K, about 10% of like this average year of 2023, okay, sure, like it's not that bad, but let's look at a more appealing chart, like a graph. And here we see that the first 2 years of Twitch were very successful. Obviously, this was the subathon. He mentioned that in the video, so obviously it's a high point. So let's try not to consider it too much and just completely shit on the YouTube revenue that we are seeing. Like, yes, it's not doing so good. He did get an offset contract, but let's just strictly look at revenue. Twitch, that almost second to last year, made over $1 million, and YouTube was slowly getting there. So could you say like that's just the benefit of doubling down on one platform and building your community? I couldn't believe that, right? Because he went back to Twitch and said, well, it's not that good. I'm going to multi-stream. So it's clearly not worth it to just go all in. And yes, obviously we have the point of you're going to make passive income on YouTube. So it's always good to go on YouTube. It's always good to have your face in multiple places. So when people see you because they're doing whatever, they can always click in and you can be getting money, of course. But let's look at revenue per month and see how January is going so far with multi-stream, right? And here we see the money he made per month on Twitch is still higher, even excluding the high point from the subathon, just 2020 point of Twitch, is still higher than all four of those points. Now, I will agree with most people that this point here will probably creep up to the same as that point on Twitch. So you're doing more to get about the same that you were getting at just Twitch. Best case scenario, that seems really weird. I mean, YouTube is slowly progressing up. So sticking with YouTube long term will give you a more steady income. And so my mind just couldn't wrap around why did he make such a brash decision? Like, hey, I'm multi-streaming all year, right? It's just clearly better. You guys were all right. But what data was he looking at? And so that's when I went back to his table and thought, okay, what is very important to look at? And I didn't think viewers or peak viewers were really important. Like, if I'm being honest, if I was making a decision on where am I going to work, I don't really want to look at performance in terms of viewerships, right? Like, yeah, if you're an athlete and you're trying to be the best streamer, sure, that is a very good one to look at. But I feel like at this point, Ludwig is thinking about a business. And so peak average viewers and even hours watched is not something I'm really looking at. I'm looking at revenue, and then I'm looking at my time, hours streamed. And so I said, okay, so how much money am I making per hour streamed, and how many hours am I streaming for that year? So that's what I graphed, and I got the most interesting graph. It almost goes completely right to left in terms of hours streamed total by Ludwig, which, you know, you're getting older. It's what you would expect, right? The longer you're in something, the less time you're going to want to do it, you know? And then we see the subathon point. Now let's talk about the subathon point last, because that's where it's going to really end in a very interesting note. But here we see that he's gaining $600 an hour streaming on Twitch, this point right here, the same when he was streaming on YouTube, and that 2020 point. So here we're seeing he's getting more money, he's getting more bang for his buck in terms of his time by being on YouTube as well as streaming. And so this is probably expected, right? These 2 points, right? But I didn't expect this point, this high YouTube point, making over $200 more an hour his third year streaming on YouTube. Higher. What was even more shocking is this: how much money he made on YouTube for his hours streamed. I believe it was 14. Let's go take a look, right? 14 hours, he made $10K. That is $200 more an hour than what he did on Twitch. Now, not saying that he should just abandon Twitch and go to YouTube because it's more time efficient, you get more money for your time. No, Twitch is definitely a better platform to stream on. That much is made clear by literally every single person that has ever done it. But I can see why he likes multi-streaming, because he can now stream on Twitch and have a good work experience, but still get this bang for your buck money from YouTube. Holy crap. Like, this is clear. Like, even the amount of hours streamed so far, but he's making this money on average. If he keeps this up, it's going to be really good. Now, why don't we talk about the subathon now? Now, I wanted to wait for this to last because he streamed 2,000 hours to make almost like over 1,150. Let's say 1,150. So if we cut that in half, if he streamed 1,000 hours, you would think he would make 550. But that's not the truth. It looks like Ludwig just on averages makes this much money an hour. This $600 to $900 range is how much he makes per hour. That is his streamer worth, I guess, is $900 an hour. And so it's just crazy that the subathon had such a high, but it just wasn't worth it. And I think this is the big motivator of why Ludwig wants to go to multi-streaming. It's just, for half the time, you're potentially getting a ridiculous amount of money. Because if you stack this money on top of itself, by the end of the year, I'm not really seeing his prediction to be true. Because here we have 1,300 hours streamed, more than what he did in any year of YouTube, which is going to skew it completely. And this is not going to be a sum. I'm not going to take it as a sum, because so far what we're seeing here, like, these are separate, right? 14 hours on YouTube, 81 hours on Twitch, but it's, for all 14 of those hours were also on Twitch. So what I'm seeing is him making $1.2 million just doesn't fit, because he's saying, oh, I'm going to make that much money. I'm going to make about the same amount of money as I did streaming 1,800 hours on Twitch. So this is what he's thinking he's going to do. I think he's going to be more right here, 1,000 per hour. And so if I'm being honest, I think this year he's actually going to end closer to he's going to end closer to 1.5 million, if not 2 million this year. That's my prediction for his multi-stream income. That's what I'm predicting. Just based on the data, based on the trends, seeing how this is. And maybe it's just a huge month because of how his return to Twitch and everything. But I think multi-streaming is the way to go for these big streamers, just like how it is for small people, right? More eyes are on you. However, if you have a YouTube fan base, now you're adhering to them that want to stay on YouTube. You're adhering to your Twitch fan base, and your true fans can go wherever they want. So it's just a win-win-win no matter who you are. I don't think you're going to be making the same money as you left off on 2020. I think you're going to be making not 2 mil, but definitely 1.5 to $2 million is the range that I am projecting for him to make if you actually stream 1,300 hours. If you hit that, you're definitely making big money this year. Most you've ever seen. It's going to be crazy data that's going to force a lot of other streamers to do the exact same thing, that if they're not already. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. That's just what I kind of quickly pulled from the data that he gave us. I wish I had more details, but I didn't want to do hours watched because it's just that just is skewing the data too much. I think average and peak doesn't really do real well. If I had video to video, day by day, I definitely could do a more in-depth analysis and had more fun and more interesting graphs and trends. But from what I got, this is the best I could come up without it being completely misleading. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.